This podcast is part of the Deluxe Edition Network. To find other great shows on the network, head over to deluxeeditionnetwork.com. That's deluxeeditionnetwork.com.
Hold it, man. He's not bluffing.
He rode a blazing saddle, he wore a shining star. His job to offer battle to bad men near and far. He conquered fear and he conquered hate. He turned dark night into day. He made his blazing saddle a torch to light the way.
You know, I thought sure that Mongo would just mash him up into little bitty sheriff meatballs. I just don't understand it.
Okay, Jim, what are your pleasures? What you like to do?
Oh, I don't know. Play chess. Screw.
Well, let's play chess.
Tell me, Schatzi, is it true what they say about the way you people are gifted?
He rode a blazing saddle, he wore a shining star. His job to offer battle to bad men near and far. He conquered fear and
hey, where are the white women at?
He turned dark night into day. He made his blazing saddle.
We'll head him off at the pass!
Head them off at the pass. I hate that cliche.
Hey everybody, welcome to Films and Fermentation. This is episode 140. That's right, we are Films and Fermentation, a movie and alcohol podcast. I'm Leo.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Mike.
We're three friends who like to talk shit about movies while getting shit-faced. In this episode, they rode on blazing saddles, they wore shining stars. Their job to offer battle to bad men near and far. They conquered fear and they conquered hate. They turned their night into day. They made their blazing saddles torch to light the way. That's right.
Well done, sir. Well done indeed.
That's right. In case you weren't aware of it, tonight we are doing Schindler's List. We are looking at the 50th anniversary of the Mel Brooks classic Blazing Saddles, starring Gene Wilder, Cleavon Little, Harvey Corman, and Madeline Kahn, amongst others. I say classic because we, the three of us at least, consider it a classic. We know there are people out there that might not agree with some of the things that are in the film, but we're going to talk about that a little bit tonight.
Wait, people don't agree with things in the film? I'm shocked.
Is it a film? So that's the question. Is it a film that could get made today?
Is Deadpool involved? Because that kind of lubes the way a bit.
Speaking of that, I saw the trailer for Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm a little excited about it. I'm not going to lie. I'm also excited for Dune Part 2. Don't forget
trailers this past
Sunday. There was a lot of neat things that are coming out soon. Don't forget to drop us an email, filmsinformation@gmail.com, or visit linktree.com/filmsinfermentation. Find all of our social media and podcast links. We also have an official website. It's one of Kevin's favorite places to visit. It's filmsandfermentation.weebly, weebly.com.
We have a website.
We've had a website for 140 episodes now, and you can find a link to that on Linktree as well. And I pointed out because on our website, we have a blog section where I occasionally post some ruminations on movies that we've talked about. And this week I posted a little essay I wrote on what makes Blazing Saddles relevant. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit later on this episode. Don't forget you become a part of the Films and Fermentation family by supporting us on Patreon or buying our shit at teespring.com. We are now a part of the Deluxe Edition Network. Find out more about us, as well as the other podcasts at the Deluxe Edition Network, including the podcast of the month, Friends Talking Nerdy, who we share that title with, at deluxeeditionnetwork.com. We'll be right back after these words from Coffee Brothers.
I love a good beer, but right now I could use a good cup of coffee.
Have you heard about Coffee Brothers?
Oh, yeah, they're that coffee company out of New York City, right?
Well, they're more like these coffee wizards of New York City. They source these amazing seasonal blends and single origin coffees. It's like a flavor adventure in every cup. And get this, they roast everything in small batches. None of that mass-produced stuff. It's like each bean gets the VIB treatment.
VIB?
Very important bean.
Sounds fancy. But is it worth it?
Definitely. Plus, they're a two-person team. I mean, that's dedication right there. Two brothers, one mission to caffeinate the world. And right now, you can save 10% on your order. I mean, who doesn't love a good discount?
All right, you've convinced me. Let's get some Coffee Brothers now.
Coffee Brothers, where every cup is a sip of perfection. Save 10% on your next order with the code FNF10. That's FNF10. Cheers to great coffee. Now that we're back from that short break, gentlemen, what are we drinking this evening? Mike, I think you need to go first, don't you?
Well, since we are talking about Blazing Saddles and a Western, I'm going with straight in the glass with ice, Four Roses small batch bourbon. So just a whiskey, pretty much.
There you go. Kevin, what are you drinking this evening?
I feel saddened, my friends. My wife, who's a lot more diligent about the cocktails and the drinks for our themes for our episodes, found this really good cocktail called the Blazing Saddle cocktail, and I just didn't have just one small minor ingredient, and I was like, fuck it, I'll just do beer. So, fuck it, I'll just do beer. Today I'm drinking the Second Fiddle. It's a double IPA from Fiddlehead Brewing Company in Shelburne, Vermont. It's a double IPA, so it's going to be a little bit hoppy. But it is 8.2% alcohol by volume. Never had it before. This was one of the ones that we got at Benash in their mystery 12-pack that my wife picked me up a week or so ago, and I'm looking forward to it. And if I tend to get through that, I will move on to the Dogtoberfest Marzen Lager from Flying Dog. Which is 5.6%. And says, there is sauerkraut in my lederhosen. I repeat, there is sauerkraut in my lederhosen. I am hoping there is no sauerkraut in the beer, but we shall see.
That would be awesome. And then you would know my pain when I drank the fucking V8 beer.
But then he'll be a sauerkraut and corned beef drinking motherfucker.
We could at that point just change it to he's a Reuben drinking motherfucker.
I was going to drink straight whiskey tonight as well, Mike, because I figured that's like a very old West thing to do. But then I was thinking about it as I was looking at some of the trivia for the movie tonight. I realized I kind of lucked my way into a theme. So the character that Madeline Kahn plays, Lily von Stoop, is loosely based. Yeah, she's loosely based on a 30s and 40s actress named Marlene Dietrich. who I happen to have a drink dedicated to. I know Kevin's had it. Mike, I'm pretty sure you might have had it as well. I know I gave you one. It's the Lily Marlene lager from Warhorse Brewery. Is dedicated to Marlene Dietrich. It's 6% alcohol by volume. I've definitely drank it on the show before. It's a very good beer. And just by chance happens to be the person that Madeline Kahn based her performance on. So it kind of lucked my way into a seat. Tired
Let's
of playing the
face it,
game. There's a really good piece of trivia. There's a really good piece of trivia about the scene with her and Cleavon Little that I think is amazing. And we'll get to that. Mike, anything happened this week?
This week in film history.
Again, I jumped the gun on your facts. So should I do the first one?
Go ahead.
So this week, Marvel announced their cast for the new Fantastic Four film that they're going to be releasing in 2025. So I will give you that cast now. Playing the role of the Human Torch, Johnny Storm, will be Joseph Quinn, who we probably best know as Eddie in the last season of Stranger Things. The guy that plays the guitar solo in the Upside Down. He is going to be the Human Torch.
I need music. This is music.
Eben Moss Backrack is going to be playing the Thing. I've seen him before, but I don't really know anything that he's been in, but I definitely have seen his face before. He was in the Punisher TV series on Netflix, and he was in Andor, so he must have had like supporting roles in that. Playing the role of Sue Storm, the Invisible Woman, Vanessa Kirby, who was recently in the Hobbs and Shaw Fast and Furious spinoff. And
Amazing.
Playing the role of Mr. Fantastic, Reed Richards, Pedro Pascal.
This is the way.
This is the way, and I like Pedro. I was kind of, John Krasinski with the little, but I mean, there are different Earths now, so this is fine.
Yeah,
this is just
I think that
Earth.
was like the John Krasinski thing. I was just like fan service because people had been clamoring for him for so long. Marvel's like, all right, here's your taste, and then they killed him off. What's your next one here, Mike?
In 1931, the original Dracula film starring Bela Lugosi as Dracula the Vampire is released.
Yes, that word is titular.
Oh, well. I had a couple drinks before.
I saw you looking at it, and I was like, oh, he's looking at this word like, why does it say tit?
Titty-uler.
Titty-uler.
Yeah, I've had too much already.
We
Children
talked
of the
about
night, what beautiful music they make.
I never drink wine. So we've talked about this a few times because we talked about it both with the Monster Squad batshit crazy episode and when we did our recasting of the Universal Monsters during one of our previous Halloween specials.
Yep.
What you got next?
In 1950, Walt Disney's animated film Cinderella premieres in Boston.
Cinderella.
Night and day, Cinderella.
Katie's favorite princess.
Yeah, one of my wife's favorite films. And speaking of favorite films, this is one of mine.
In 1991, The Silence of the Lamb, film based on a book by Thomas Harris, directed by Jonathan Demme, and starring Jodie Foster and Anthony Hopkins, is released. Best Picture in 1992.
It puts the lotion on its skin or else it gets the hose again. I saw a few Valentine's Day memes this week with him involved.
Yeah.
Where there was the guy last week who submitted the most romantic quote is I'd fuck me so hard. I think Silence of the Lambs, if I'm not mistaken, I might be, but I'm pretty sure I'm not mistaken, is the last film to win the 5 major Oscars because it won for Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Director, and Best Screenplay. And that doesn't happen very often. And I think it's probably the last time it did. You have any must-try beer or craft destination for this evening, Mike?
I have a must-try beer. This is Yummy Beer West Coast Style IPA.
Yummy Beer?
Yummy Bear.
Yummy Bear. I was going to say most beers are yummy.
Yeah,
Yummy Bear, hopping here and there and everywhere.
I know, it's not bouncing. It's hopping because it's all the hopping.
It's hopping. Yeah, it's hopping. Not bouncing. It's hopping.
I heard they put more hops in it.
They do, because this is a West Coast style IPA from Shirley Brewing Company, Minnesota. The West Coast style IPA usually follows the San Diego model, light in body and color, with a sharp bitterness and commanding hop flavor and aroma. Shirley's does a commendable job replicating the style and chooses to keep things unfiltered and hazy orange gold. The hops have the orange peel and citrus of old sea hop varieties, and the alcohol is just about in range at 6.9% ABV. There you go.
Yummy Bear.
Yummy Bear.
Yeah, bouncing here and there and everywhere. So I would go back to the
here and there and everywhere.
To go back to the film history facts that you had, Mike, I was right. The Silence of the Lambs was the last film to win the Big Five. It's only happened 3 times. It happened one night in 1934. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest in 1975, and The Silence of the Lambs in 1992.
What was the first one?
It happened one night in 1934.
I understand it happened one night, but what was the name of the movie?
Hold on.
I tried to make a funny.
I know.
Kev, I should have asked you again before the show. Do you have any? I got to do some more pre-show.
Hey, look. I see it on there. I'll just come up with something. I'm usually pretty good at finding things that I can bring to our attention. So,
all right. So we might have some beer news that is good news. Here we go.
Gentlemen, what are we up to this weekend? Is anybody doing anything on Friday, February 23rd? Would you like to visit one of our old hauntings, the Chamonix Creek Brewing Company? Mm-hmm. Because if you would, right now the Chamonix doing this Friday, they're doing Tapes from the Creek mystery VHS screenings. I think we did one of this before with the Great Outdoors. Mm-hmm. According to them, get ready for a mind-bending night of nostalgia as we dive into the mysterious world of Tapes from the Creek mystery VHS screenings. Dive into the world of VHS tapes for a new series of mystery screenings presented by Tapes from the Crypt. Immerse yourself in the grainy goodness of old school movies with old school trailers and commercials, where the plot twists and turns will keep you on the edge of your seat. Watch the movies in the brew house that will have you laughing till beer comes out of your nose, or screaming your hop head off. You won't know what we will be showing until we pop in the tape and hit play. I kind of like that.
It's a cool idea.
It's really because there were tapes that weren't labeled growing up. Remember the things your parents would tape over things?
Yeah, that's the stuff that you're not supposed to be watching that your dad watches at night.
Don't miss out on this one-of-a-kind experience and join us for an unforgettable night of retro vibes, vendors, concessions, and more. We're hoping to make this an ongoing series at the brewery, so spread the word and bring your friends. Consider the word spread. The Baba Louie barbecue truck will be on site for the night. If you need a little more than popcorn and M&Ms. So it's taking place tomorrow night. Starts at 8.
You said the 23rd.
Chamonix Brewing Company, huh?
You said the 23rd. Tomorrow night is the 17th.
Yeah.
Or the 16th.
So prepare next weekend for
It'll be next Friday.
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm a week early. When we record 2 of these in the same week, I kind of figure we're on the next week already. But it's at the Chamonix Creek Brewing Company, which is in Croydon. Just, stay on State Road, and then at that first light, make a right and take it all the way to the river. Essentially, You'll find it. We've been there before. It's a good time.
Yeah.
I remember from the Great Outdoors one, though, is not being able to hear the film because it's so loud in there, but it didn't matter because we could quote the whole film anyway. So
But
that was beer news. Good news. That was pretty good news.
Is that the night we're doing Quizzo, though?
Quizzo is Saturday the 24th.
Oh, the next night.
Okay. Yeah, next night. Yeah. Beer News is Good News is brought to you by Newsly.me. Newsly.me is an audio super app for iOS and Android that reads the news to you in a natural human voice, just like Kevin's. Go to Newsly.me today and use the promo code ANFERMENT to get the first month premium subscription for free. I got a note from the last show, just one note. I forgot one romantic line. It's from the movie Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. I love this movie and I love this line, and I'm like disappointed that I forgot about it because I thought it was one of the best ones I ever heard in a movie. Stars Michelle Yeoh, who's my girl, you know that already, and Chow Yun-fat as these like warrior guardians in China, guardians of this like special sword, and they're in love with each other, but because she was married previously to a man that he was friends with before dying, and because of their positions or whatever, like they're in love with each other, but it's unrequited. They never like admit it to each other throughout the entire film, but you could always tell like when they're together, there's like all this tension and stuff. And then at the very, very end of the film, he gets mortally wounded and he's laying in her arms dying. And he finally decides to tell her then that he's in love with her and she's in love with him and all that. And she tells him, you know, you have to stay. We need to say the prayers over your body so that your soul is not damned. And he tells her, I'd rather be a ghost damned to walk the earth for eternity by your side than have to spend a day in heaven without you.
Whoa. That's like, pretty good.
That's a fucking great line, and I'm so angry that I forgot that one.
That was definitely trying to get laid.
That could have won, yeah.
Ghost laid.
Go ahead. So in lieu of a glip synopsis this week, we're not doing a glip synopsis. I'm going to kind of entice you
according to glip.
Yeah, no synopsis according to glip. I want to try to entice you to go to our website, filmsandfermentation.weebly.com, WEEBLY, and check out the Films and Fermentation blog section. I have a few articles on there where I wrote things about some of the movies that we've reviewed or like dedications to actors who passed away. But my last article that I wrote on here is called Defending Blazing Saddles. Since we're going to be talking about Blazing Saddles tonight in the 50th anniversary, I had a few things to say about it. Directed by Mel Brooks, released in 1974, it's a significant piece of cinema that should not be dismissed or canceled due to its language or themes. The themes of the film, it's a satire of racism and prejudice. It uses humor and exaggeration to shine a spotlight on the absurdity of racial discrimination. It's a comedy exposing the ugliness of racism. Think about the historical context of the film and when it takes place. It was also filmed at a time where civil rights were a major conversation in America. Mm-hmm. Mel Brooks and his co-writer, who happens to be Richard Pryor, were constantly breaking taboos in their comedy and in their movies. It leaves a cultural impact because of its legacy. You have to remember that it is a form of artistic expression, and we are allowed to express ourselves artistically. Canceling or censoring a film would be a disservice to the creative vision of Mel Brooks. And finally, I feel like there is some sort of educational value in this film. If you engage the film critically, you can gain a deeper understanding of the complexities of race relations as it's shown through the comedy and the satire. I have a lot more to say about that. I mean, it's pretty much a full essay I wrote on it because I had some, time on my hands this week. So I had a lot to say because I hate when people say, oh, it's a film that can't be made nowadays. I mean, we say it all the time ourselves about a lot of different films, but it bothers me because it's like you have to look at a film in its context. And it's a film that if you look at it in the right context, you can enjoy it despite the language and all that stuff. So now that I've put a damper on everything, We're going to take a short break, listen to some promos from some of our friends at the Deluxe Edition Network. But when we come back, we're going to talk about Blazing Saddles and celebrate its 50th anniversary. And we're going to do so in a humorous fashion, not in a downer fashion like I just did. So we'll see you after the break.
Are you a fan of all things nerdy? Do you love delving into the latest pop culture trends while also staying updated on the news of the day?
Hey there, fellow enthusiasts. Professor Aubrey here, and I'm thrilled to invite you to join us on Friends Talking Nerdy podcast, where we dive deep into all things geeky, from movies and TV shows to video games and comics.
That's right, folks. It's Tim the Nerd, your friendly neighborhood geek, ready to discuss the latest professional wrestling updates alongside our takes on tech innovations and the entertainment industry.
But that's not all. We also understand the importance of mental health, and we weave in thoughtful discussions on self-care and mindfulness.
So, if you want to geek out while also taking care of your well-being, tune in to Friends Talking Nerdy.
Friends Talking Nerdy, where pop culture meets mindfulness. Listen now on all major podcast platforms.
This podcast is part of the Deluxe Edition Network. To find other great shows on the network, head over to deluxeeditionnetwork.com. That's deluxeeditionnetwork.com.
The Deluxe Edition Network, also known as The Den, is an incredible podcast network that offers a wide variety of entertaining and informative podcasts.
With a lineup of shows covering various topics, such as interviews with a wide variety of guests, history, music, relationships, true crime, and so much more. The Den provides content that caters to a diverse range of interests.
The hosts and guests on the Deluxe Edition Network demonstrate a deep passion and expertise in their respective fields, making each episode on each show engaging and thought-provoking.
The network fosters a sense of community by encouraging listeners to interact through live chats, social media, and forums, creating an inclusive environment for discussion and sharing opinions.
With its commitment to high-quality production, the shows in the Deluxe Edition Network continue to captivate and entertain its ever-growing audience.
Whether you're a podcast enthusiast or someone looking to explore new topics, The Den is a fantastic platform to dive into and uncover fascinating insights from experts in their fields.
The Deluxe Edition Network is the home of independent awesomeness.
To find all these great podcasts in one convenient location, head over to deluxeeditionnetwork.com. That's deluxeeditionnetwork.com.
Hi, everyone. This is JJ, the co-founder of Good Pods. If you haven't heard of it yet, Good Pods is like Goodreads or Instagram, but for podcasts. It's new, it's social, it's different, and it's growing really fast. There are more than 2 million podcasts, and we know that it is impossible to figure out what to listen to. On Good Pods, you follow your friends and podcasters to see what they like. That is the #1 way to discover new shows and episodes. You can find Good Pods on the web or download the app. Happy listening.
So, we're back from our short break. We're going to be talking about the 50th anniversary of Blazing Saddles. That's your cue, Kev.
Blazing Saddles, he wore a star. His job for battle to he conquered fear and country. He turned our night into day. He made us bleeding saddles, put torch to light.
Who sang it better, me or him?
Tough call. He's a professional musician.
I should have had the reverb on when I sang it earlier. So, as I usually do when we talk about movies on here, I go right to IMDb for one of their amazing synopses. So, according to IMDb, so the IMDb synopsis for Blazing Saddles is: in order to ruin a western town, a corrupt politician appoints a black sheriff. who promptly becomes his most formidable adversary. It almost sounds like an actual like Western. Like
yeah, it sounds like Django Unchained.
Yeah, it's like a serious like Western about like racism and corruption. But the actual synopsis is Rock Ridge, 1874. Determined to run a new railroad through the dusty American frontier town, conniving land speculator Headley Lamar has the nerve. No, it's Heady. It's Headley. Heady is the wrong name. Headley Lamar has the nerve to uproot its peaceful inhabitants. With law and order being the last thing the ruthless land grabber wants, Lamar convinces the botched governor, William J. Lepedemain, to do something dangerously unprecedented. As a result, hoping for disorder and a hasty exodus, they appoint an unsuspecting nobody named Bart as the community's first black sheriff. But there's no such thing as a foolproof plan. And when Sheriff Bart signs up the Waco Kid, a washed-up gunslinger with an obscure past, as his deputy and right-hand man, change is afoot. Now, for the first time in a long while, the townspeople can make a stand. However, can they foil Headley's ludicrous money-making scheme? Meanwhile...
It's Headley.
So that is just a brief synopsis of the film. One of the alternate titles of the movie was Black Bart, which goes along with the main character. He's a black man named Bart. I think Blazing Saddles is a much better title.
Yep. I hear Black Bart and I think of A Christmas Story. Wasn't that the villain that...
was that the bully?
No, it wasn't the bully, but it was...
I know what you mean. When he does the daydream about fighting guys.
All right, Black Bart.
It might have been Black Bart.
Yours.
I think I hear Black Bart and I think like a pirate movie. Like Black Bart. There was a Blazing Saddles TV spinoff.
No.
Yeah, like a year after, it was starring Louis Gossett Jr. as Black Bart. The show was actually called Black Bart. And it was supposed to be a spinoff. It lasted one episode before being canceled.
Was it because of the content?
No, it was like just a basic sitcom with like a laugh track in the background.
Mm-hmm.
If you're interested in seeing that pilot and how horrible it actually is, you can watch the whole thing for free on YouTube. So, let's take a look at some trivia, shall we, for Blazing Saddles.
There is one thing about this movie that bothered me real quick.
What's that?
They sing a song that's anti-us.
They sing a song with what?
That's anti our show.
Anti our show? How's that? How's that? I can't hear it. If you're trying to play something, I can't hear it.
Damn it.
Is it the song that they sang about the townspeople at the beginning? In the little town of Rock Ridge.
No, I get no kick out of champagne. Beer.
Oh, that's the yeah. When they say sing one of your slave ditties, I get no kick from champagne. Mere alcohol, it doesn't thrill me at all. And that leads to like one of the first insensitive comments of the film that I'm not going to repeat, but y'all dancing around like a bunch of Kansas City.
Yep.
That guy there is Slim Pickens, who is a pretty famous actor, done a lot of westerns. He was in Dr. Strangelove. He's the guy that rides the bomb down to the earth.
Was that his actual name, or was that a stage name like Rip
I'm
Torn?
fairly certain Slim Pickens was a stage name. You know, like Slim was like that popular like cowboy like nickname, you know. Cleavon Little was not the original star of the film. The original star was Richard Pryor, who co-wrote the film with Mel Brooks. But the studio thought that he was too dangerous to cast in a film because of his material and his well-known drug use. Little did I know.
High at the time.
Little did I know he would go on to be one of the most successful comedic actors of all time. Anyway. But then they decided to cast Cleavon Little, who was not a film actor at the time. He was a stage actor. He actually was a Tony Award-winning stage actor who had done some TV, but that's it. Other casting changes were Gene Wilder was the character was originally played by an actor named Gig Young. who was a raging alcoholic in real life. And was so drunk on the first day of shooting that they fired him and hired Gene Wilder. It was like a day's notice. Gene Wilder actually learned the script on the flight to L.A. I think it was for the better, too. I can't imagine somebody other than Gene Wilder playing that character.
Was this pre or post Young Frankenstein?
This was pre, because this was 1974. Young Frankenstein, I think, was 76, 75, 76. Because Gene Wilder wrote the script for Young Frankenstein and told Mel Brooks he could direct it, but he wasn't allowed to be in it. He had done the producers with Mel Brooks prior to that in 1969. So like this was like a run for Mel Brooks, because he had the producers, then he had this film, then he had Young Frankenstein, he had the 12 Chairs, he had History of the World not too long after that. I mean, you know, it was a run for him in the late 70s, early 80s. The theme song "Blazing Saddles" was sung by a singer named Frankie Lane. Mel Brooks, when he hired him, didn't tell him that the movie was a comedy. He wanted Frankie Lane to believe that it was a dramatic Western so that he would sing the song with conviction. Afraid he would take it as like a comedy. Harvey Corman's character, Hedley Lamar, is a play on the name Hedy Lamar, who was a real person. Hedy Lamar sued Mel Brooks over the use of the name Hedley Lamar, but settled with him out of court. When the film was screened for Warner Brothers executives, none of them laughed, and the movie looked to be a disaster that the studio could not release. Mel Brooks quickly set up a subsequent screening for the studio's employees. When the regular folks laughed uproariously throughout the movie, Warner Brothers finally agreed to take a chance on releasing it. It would go on to be Warner Brothers' best film of 1974, like the most successful film. They made the most money that year. Let's see here. Let's go for a good one.
Actually, Young Frankenstein came out in 74 too.
Oh, it did. So it was the same year. Oh.
Yeah.
That's a big year for Mel Brooks and Gene Wilder. Gene Wilder and Cleavon Little quickly became friends on set. Since Little was a Broadway actor, Wilder would give him pointers on acting in front of the camera. After promising...
he also broke the fourth wall, didn't he?
Who?
The Bart character would break the fourth wall and talk to the camera.
He did a couple times in the film.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think there's a couple characters that break the fourth wall in it.
Especially about the whole gun to the head. It's like, black people are dumb.
Then Lamar broke character. Or not broke character, but broke the fourth wall.
Where's my froggy? Mr. Lamar, you use your tongue prettier than a $20 whore. I can't get over that quote. I don't know why. It just cracked me up. This is the one I wanted to tell you guys about. After promising Warner Brothers that he would edit out several offensive scenes, such as the infamous farting sequence, Mel Brooks never cut a single scene except for one. After the room is darkened, when Lily Von Stoop, played by Madeline Kahn, asks Cleavon Little if it's true what they say about your people, she's like, "It's true. It's true." There's a deleted scene. You can actually see the deleted scene on like DVD where he says, "I hate to tell you this, but you're sucking on my arm." The song that Madeline Kahn sings, "I'm Tired," Mel Brooks claims is the dirtiest song he ever wrote in his life. Anybody have anything else they would like to pick out of here? There's a few good things in here. Richard Pryor came up with the character Mongo, played by former NFL player Alex Harris.
Candygram from Mongo.
Candygram from Mongo. Dom DeLuise claimed that the role of the director of the film within a film, The French Mistake, I love that the name of the movie is The French Mistake, was supposed to be played by Peter Sellers. However, after Mel Brooks endured an exhaustive 4-hour audition, he went with Dom DeLuise instead. That's a great scene too. Stick out your tush. When auditioning for the role of Lily Von Stoop, Madeline Kahn was asked by Mel Brooks to pull up her skirt so he could see her legs. Boy, talk about something that won't go over nowadays.
No kidding.
He was hesitant, being unclear of Brooks's intentions. Brooks assured her that he was a happily married man. He was married to Anne Bancroft at the time. He just wanted to see if she had legs good enough to approximate Marlene Dietrich's famous gams. She lifted her skirt and said, "No touching." The Lily Von Stoop character was a parody of Marlene Dietrich. That'd be a whole series of cancellations if a producer brought an actress into a studio and been like, "I need to see your legs. Lift up your skirt."
This was a cool.
Who are you, Harvey Weinstein?
Yeah. Jesus.
Here's
Mike, you said this one last week that it premiered at the Pickwick Theater in Burbank, and people rode in on horses to watch the film.
Yeah, this one's good. Cleavon Little was not warned about the morons line. That was his real. That was his real reaction to it.
It's a natural reaction to that line. It's a great improvisation from Gene Wilder.
This one is interesting only because I didn't know that this was something that they did in the 1950s. The bull that Mongo rides has yes painted on the one side and no painted on the other.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a reference to the practice in the 1950s of marking the back of school buses for which side was safe to pass on, essentially implying that Mongo and his mount are as big as the bus.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea that they painted yes and no on the back of school buses back then.
I didn't know that either.
Nowadays,
It's one I had to look up specifically because for the longest time I was like, I have no idea why I always thought it was something political. Like it was supposed to be like some sort of because he's riding in on an ass, I thought it was like something political, but it's not. Here's here it is. I was looking for this one. The governor character that Mel Brooks plays briefly in the film is Governor Lepédemain. He's named after a popular turn-of-the-century French performer named Joseph Pujol, whose stage name was Lepédemain. Pujol was famous for his remarkable control of his abdominal muscles, which enabled him to inhale air into his rectum and expel the air upon command, farting at will. His stage name combines the French verb pater, to fart, with mané, suffix meaning maniac, which translates to fartomaniac. The profession was referred to as a flatulist, a farteur, or a fartiste. He told stories punctuated with flatulence, demonstrating his ability to blow out candles from 2 feet away with his back turned, and performed La Marseillaise and popular tunes. So basically, the governor's actual name translates as William Fartomaniac. A whole lot of information for that one joke.
For the desert shot, Slim Pickens stayed on location in his RV and would sit out front in the evenings with a campfire and his Winchester rifle.
Man's man.
In 1975, Mel Brooks gave an interview with Playboy magazine where he said that he mentioned Raisinets in the Blazing Saddles movie, and now the company sends him a gross of them every month. He gets a gross of Raisinets.
A gross of Raisinets.
I definitely think Raisinets are gross.
He's 97 years old. Do you think he still gets Raisinets sent to him every month?
Old people love raisins, dude.
Madeline Kahn started working on the movie the day after being fired from the role of Agnes Gooch in Mame. Lucille Ball believed that Kahn got herself fired by deliberately acting poorly so that she could take the role of Lily Von Stoop in this film instead. She still got paid for the Gooch role in Mame, which by her contract wouldn't have happened if she merely quit. That is why Madeline Kahn is a national treasure. The Indian chief, played by Mel Brooks, speaks Yiddish.
Yeah.
That one I had known about before. There's so many great things. I'm not going to go through everything because there's so many. The medieval hangman that appears at the beginning of the film outside Hedley Lamar's office returns in Robin Hood Men in Tights. And it's played by the same actor, Robert Ridgely.
Oh wow!
I like that all the men in the town are named Johnson. Howard Johnson, Dean Johnson, Olaf Johnson. The Howard Johnson's ice cream parlor has one flavor in the town of Rock Ridge. It's a reference to the Johnson's restaurant and hotel chain, which was famous for its 28 flavors of ice cream.
They asked Johnny Carson to play the Waco Kid.
I know. I'm trying to think like how that would have worked with Johnny Carson in the Gene Wilder role. I don't know Johnny Carson for like acting other than like playing characters on his talk show.
Yeah,
you know, it'd be weird. The film was almost not released at all. When screened for executives, there were few laughs, said Mel Brooks. The head of distribution said, "Let's dump it and take a loss." Studio president John Calley insisted they open in New York, LA, and Chicago as a test. It became the studio's top moneymaker that summer. The movie premiered on February 7th, 1974 at the Pickwick. Like we said, Cleavon, Little Gene Wilder, and others rode in on horses to watch the event. On the marquee outside Grauman's Chinese Theater, the flashing title Blazing Saddles is a matte lay-in. The film's temporary title Black Bart can actually be seen in one of the posters on the wall outside the theater. Mel Brooks does a lot of voiceovers in the film, so a lot of the German voices you hear are Mel Brooks.
The N-word is spoken a total of 13 times.
Yeah. Feels like it's more than that.
But I don't think they say the whole thing. Like the sheriff is a no.
Yeah.
Mel Brooks' character has GOV on the back of his jacket. He did the same gag in the Muppet movie from 1979.
Yeah, just big gov on the back of his jacket.
Big gov.
After the initial screening, one of the executives walked up to Mel Brooks with a list of items that need to be changed. Mel took the list, said he would consider the suggestions, and as he walked out of the room, dropped them in the nearest wastebasket. That's a man with clout.
Here we go. Here's one. The original plan for the film was to have Alan Arkin direct and James Earl Jones playing Bart.
Okay.
I'm just reading as I go down.
That's weird. Any other good ones?
Waco, I am your father.
Alex Karras was a defensive lineman for the Detroit Lions. He missed the 1963 NFL season because he was suspended for gambling.
Hey, yeah, Max Brooks was born during the production.
Jim's line, "I must have killed more men than Cecil B. DeMille," is a reference to many on-set deaths that occurred on DeMille's films. Let's do one more good one here. Number 9 on Bravo's list of the 100 funniest movies. I'll have to look that up. I want to see what the other movies are that are funnier than it. If you go down to the bottom, there's like the spoiler things.
It's number 6 on AFI's 100 Years of 100 Laughs.
I think it should be higher. Yeah, I think that's about it. I don't think there's anything else really to go through. There's a lot on there. What is your favorite scene and or favorite quote from the film? You need a minute to think about that one, or
no? Yours
is Where the White Women At?
No, I think mine is the morons.
Yeah, these are people of the earth, simple folk, salt of the land.
Yeah.
And it's like
morons.
I love any scene with Black Bart where he's showing off his quick speed. Or not Black Bart, with Waco Kid. Where he's showing off the so it's like, put your hand around that chess piece. And it's like in his pocket. Or when he shoots the guns out of the guy's hands, but his hands never moved.
But in that scene, if you go back, when you see the guns in his holsters are smoking.
Yeah. So
I better go check out this Mongo character. Goes for the gun. Oh no! Don't do that! Don't do that! If you shoot him, you'll just make him mad.
The hardest thing was coming up with the candygram. I'm trying to bring up the quote page here.
Or the one where you'll be well enough not to mention this to anybody after she leaves the pie for him.
What does she say? She's like, can't remember now.
Sorry, there's some.
This is after Bart returns after he was sentenced to death, and like his friends, his former slave friends, see him for the first time. Heard you were hung. He goes, and he was right.
Right.
Boys, look what I got here. Hey, where the white women at? Oh, here's your line, Mike. What do you think they're going to say? Welcome home, Sonny. Welcome, Sonny. Make yourself at home. Marry my daughter. You got to remember that these are just simple farmers, people of the land, common clay of the New West. You know, morons.
Stampeding cattle. That's not much of a crime. Through the Vatican. Kinky.
Kinky. I like this one here when Waco wakes up in the prison cell. He's like, the drunken number 2 must be awake. Are you awake? And he goes, we're not sure. Are we black?
Are we black? Yes, we are.
And we're awake. We're very puzzled.
That's one of my favorite things too. I love that.
One of the best lines. Excuse me while I whip this out.
That's a great scene too. That's him showing up in
little
town.
bastard shot me in the
ass. Everybody was challenging the Waco kid. Yeah. No, the scene you just mentioned, Kev. Excuse me, I'll whip this out. It's a great scene too. Because it's like they have this big celebration for the new sheriff and pointing guns at him. There's the reference to the treasure of Sierra Madre when he hands the badges to the Mexican rebels, and they're like, badges? We don't need no stinking badges.
What's your name? Well, my name is Jim, but most people call me Jim.
Men, you're about to embark on a great crusade to stamp out runaway decency in the West. Now you men will only be risking your lives, whilst I'll be risking an almost certain Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor. And then, the truth be told, the only Oscar nomination for acting out of this film went to Madeline Kahn for Best Supporting Actress for playing Lily Von Stoop.
Sir, he specifically requested 2. Well, to tell your family secret, my grandmother was Dutch.
Would you like another Schnitzengruben? No, thank you. 15 is my limit on Schnitzengruben. Well, then how about a little? And she whispers in his ear, baby, please, I'm not from Havana. Will I ever see you again? It all depends on how much vitamin E I can get my hands on. What do you want me to do, sir? I want you to round up every vicious criminal gunslinger in the West. Take this down. I want rustlers, cutthroats, murderers, bounty hunters, desperados, mugs, pugs, thugs, nitwits, halfwits, dimwits, vipers, snipers, conmen, Indian agents, Mexican bandits, muggers, buggerers, bushwhackers, hornswogglers, horse thieves, bulldykes, train robbers, bank robbers, ass kickers, shit kickers, and Methodists. Could you repeat that, sir? God, it's so immensely quotable, this movie. Here's my favorite one, Mike. I keep mentioning. My mind is a raging torrent, flooded with rivulets of thought, cascading into a waterfall of creative alternatives. God darn it, Mr. Lamar, you use your tongue prettier than a $20 whore.
A man drink like that and don't eat, he's gonna die. When?
Well, Jim, this is when he releases Waco from the prison cell, and they're having a drink together. And he's, well, Jim, since you are my guest and I am your host, what's your pleasure? What do you like to do? And he goes, oh, I don't know. Play chess, screw. Well, let's play chess. Yeah, and then there's so many quotes that we can't say because it's just use of derogatory terms, disallows it. But there's so many really funny ones.
Look at my hand, steady as a rock. Yeah, but I shoot with this one.
Cecil build a mine. Mongo only pawn in game of life.
Qualifications: rape, murder, arson, rape. You said rape twice.
I really like the raping. I'm looking for the one where he says kinky. Oh shit! Quicksand. Dang, that was lucky. We nearly lost a $400 hand car. He leaves Bart and Brendan.
Now we're in trouble. They're in trouble.
They're in trouble.
Hey, the sheriff is a nick. What did he say? He said the sheriff is near.
Piss on you. I'm working for Mel Brooks. Can't find it, man. I'm trying to find the one where he says kinky. There's the guy says something. It's one of the I think that's the one you said, Kev, where he's like, I rushed Stampede through the Vatican or whatever.
Stampede.
Kinky.
There it is. It's right here. Stampede, cat off, not much of a crime. Through the Vatican? Kinky. It's not here. It was actually Bart that said that in its disguise.
Oh, in the when they're in the KKK disguise. Qualifications: arson, armed robbery, mayhem. Wait a moment. What do you got in your mouth? Nothing. Gum, sir. Chewing gum on line A. Had you brought enough for everybody?
I didn't know there's going to be so many people.
And he shoots him, and Jim goes, boy, he's strict.
When the one guy gets startled and jumps up into Headley's arms, he goes, "That's okay. It's just a man and his horse being home."
Oh God! And he's in the tub and he's having a bath, and the guy's brushing his bag. And, where's my froggy? But for me, I think my favorite scene is oh God, there's so many great ones. Maybe Billy Von Stoop's performance. tired of playing the game. What has aged best or worst in this movie? Well, I think what's aged best is the satire. To me, at least, because I understand that it's supposed to be satire. It's not supposed to be, overtly offensive. It's making a joke about what's offensive for the sake of showing the ignorance behind it all. Plus, Madeline Kahn is a national fucking treasure, so she's aged well no matter what. Anytime.
Do you think?
Go ahead, Kev.
I was just going to say, do you think kids today, growing up, not having, the exposure that we had growing up, will understand the movie and appreciate it?
No.
Only if they have an open mind and their understanding of what the message is. But if they're, easily offended, then they're not going to be able to enjoy it.
Mm.
I think that's what's age worst is that,
Well, I think that's the part is will they know why it's a satire? Will they know why it's critiquing or what it's critiquing?
That's why I love that message. We had mentioned this pre-show. If anybody out there wants to watch Blazing Saddles, if you have a subscription to Max, HBO Max, you can watch it on there now. And there's a really great disclaimer. I don't know the woman's name, but she's a host on one of the AMC classic movie shows, and she gives this like awesome disclaimer at the beginning of the film about why it's relevant culturally and comedically and all that stuff. And it's, you know, if you take her words seriously, you can watch the film in that context. I think it has meaning. But if you're not willing to listen to that message and you want to watch the film as you want to watch it, then whatever, you know. The film's not for you, don't watch it. Well, you know, what are you gonna say? Does it hold up today? To me, it does, because I still think it's funny. But yeah. I'd be repeating myself if I said, you know, everything I just said again. So, if you had to give an Oscar to one person in the film, who would it be?
Gene Wilder.
So I already said, like, the one nomination for acting it got was for Madeline Kahn.
Her role was too small, I thought.
Well, it was supporting actress, so I mean that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
She didn't win, but she was nominated for it. I like Gene Wilder. I think he's good for probably like supporting actor. I would give it to Mel Brooks for the screenplay. Mel Brooks and Richard Pryor for the screenplay. I think the screenplay should have got it, at least a nomination.
That's Slim Pickens for supporting actor.
and then at the Oscars they can show the scene where he's like, "Sir, use your tongue prettier." If hypothetically you were able to make this film today, who could you recast in it for a modern audience? And you don't have to do every character, but like if you want to just choose one and throw somebody in there.
I think I'd put Ryan Reynolds as the Waco Kid.
Okay. Possibly, I could see that. I was thinking like Ryan Gosling for the Waco Kid. He could play that sort of like goofy character and still be kind of like serious. I was trying to think of somebody for like Black Bart.
Well, I was thinking either like Kevin Hart or Chris Rock.
I think Chris Rock would be great for it, but he's probably a little too old for it now. Like maybe like if we were able to remake it in like the 90s, little long in the tooth now. But if we were like early 2000s, Chris Rock, I think he's better than Kevin Hart would be for it. I don't know if Kevin Hart would take it, you know, play it the right way. How about The Rock?
No, because poor Becky had to explain to her daughter why Daddy wanted to
beat up Maui. That's a teaser for that too. Moana 2 coming out in November.
Yeah.
How about who would you recast for the Madeline Kahn character? That's a difficult one, I think. I would go. Who?
Scarlett Johansson.
Scarlett Johansson.
Emma Stone.
Emma Stone. I was thinking from SNL, Kate McKinnon.
Yeah,
I think
she'd be a good fit.
Or like Kristen Wiig, one of those two.
Mm-hmm.
No, Catherine Hahn, the one who plays Agatha in WandaVision. I think she'd be good at it. Do we have anything else we want to add about this film other than how awesome it is?
No, happy birthday, 50 years.
Happy 50th anniversary to Blazing Saddles. Mel Brooks still kicking, 97 years old.
Yeah, he didn't age well.
He looks 97 years old.
Every bit of it.
Still sharp though, man.
Still enough to run for president.
Still, yeah. Still has his faculties though. That doesn't count. I forgot to mention that I had killed that Lily Marlene very quickly earlier, so I didn't have any left. But I moved on to Warhorse Brewery's Rolling Storm Oktoberfest, which I was surprised that I still had in my fridge. So.
And I just kicked open the Dogtoberfest Mars and Locker.
Mike, are you feeling good?
I'm feeling all right.
Do you have any beer trivia or history for us this evening?
I do. I have a beer fun fact for you. Brewers in ancient Babylonia were held to very high standards. Records indicate that brewers who produced poor quality beer could be sentenced to death by drowning.
Wow, that is a high standard.
Man, there'd be
would
a lot of
would they have to drown in their poor beer?
Be a lot of breweries in trouble nowadays.
They're glass full of lies.
I've had my fair share of bad beers.
What is it pickled with?
Why does this taste like seawater? Like,
no, his name was Sir Walter. Sir Walter.
So thank you for joining us, everybody, tonight for episode 140, a look at Blazing Saddles at 50. We hope you enjoyed listening to the podcast as much as we enjoyed recording it for you. Don't forget to go to linktree.com/films and fermentation, find all of our social media and podcast links, or email us at filmsandfermentation@gmail.com. Again, I encourage you to check out our website at filmsandfermentation.weebly.com. That's WEEBLY. And check out our blog section so you can see the little short essay I wrote on why Blazing Saddles is still culturally significant. Don't forget, you can stop by the crossroads between pickled and fermented next time around for episode 141. With the Super Bowl just happening recently, there were a slew of movie trailers that were released, particularly during the Super Bowl program itself. So I can thank Kevin for this idea because it is a preview of the films that are coming out in 2024. There's so many trailers that were released recently. We feel it's a good idea to kind of cover some of them and talk about some of the movies that we're excited about in the upcoming year. So don't forget to catch us next week for that episode. I'm Leo.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Mike.
Where the white women at? He rode a blazing saddle, there was a shining star. No battle to bad guys near and far. Again, you've been listening to Films and Fermentation Podcast. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Blazing saddle, torch to light the way.
Point out the stupidity and the idiocracy of.
You talking about the disclaimer at the beginning of the Max?
Yeah.
It's really good.
You know, they're like,
really
of course they use the N-word, and it's all about racism, and it's about the Nazis and the Ku Klux Klan, and it's beyond ridiculous, and it's supposed to be beyond ridiculous, and that's the point,
Yeah. So I don't know if you guys know this or not, but on our official website, I have a blog section, and I occasionally post things there. And usually, what I post are like my mini pod reviews. But the other day, when I was sitting in the service center for like 5 hours waiting for my car, I had some time on my hands, so I wrote a little essay about defending Blazing Saddles and put it on our website. And I was going to mention it tonight. Should I just read some of it tonight?
Hey, we have an official website?
Yes, we do.
How long has that been around?
Since we started the show.
What would that be? Filmsandfermentation.com?
You can find it on linktree.com/filmsandfermentation. It is filmsandfermentation. .weebly, WEEBLY.com.
Okay.
He's missed that for 140 episodes.
What's this Weebly stuff that you're talking about, by the
way? Hey, look, let me read the homepage to you. There's a picture of us. It says Films and Fermentation, a Deluxe Edition Network podcast. Your hosts, Kevin, Mike, and Leo. I even gave you guys top billing.
Hey.
We'll talk about their favorite films in conjunction with their favorite libations. Sometimes there's a theme between the film and the beverage. Sometimes it's just three guys shooting shit while getting shit-faced. Enjoy. And then I got some movie posters on there. I got links to different podcast sites. I got links to the Deluxe Edition Network. I got links to some of our Good Pod friends. We have an About section that has pictures of us on it from different moments in our lives.
So, Kevin, technically,
Yeah.
I haven't eaten much, and I'm drinking straight liquor. So
there you go.
You might be a little surly.